How's it going, everybody? I am your host, Yakin with Sarah, and welcome to another episode of Sunday Night Live. I am going to let this fella right here introduce himself. Go ahead, Joe.
Hey guys, my name is Joe Jealous, and I am the host of Chatt Fishing on YouTube. Thanks for joining in tonight.
There you go. I am posting this stuff on Facebook right now, and I'm going to get right back into the chat. So, early bird shoutouts as always. Brooks, how you doing? Outdoors Weekly. Hey Bryce, Justin's Fishin, Fetish, Patriot Catfishers of America, The Wyatt Life, Johnny and Rhino Fishing. Muddy River Catfishing, how you doing? Speaking of the Wyatt, there you go. Speaking of the Wyatt Life today, fantastic job with your live stream today, Jake. That is awesome. You picked up over 200 pounds of trash walking your river today, and that's amazing. Fantastic. That was the last number I saw, at least. There may be more. Dirty Ore Catfishing, Virginia Fisherman, Fishing with Big D, Life of a Fly Fisherman, James. Alright, that's all the early bird shoutouts I'm doing. So, Joe is in the chat, not the chat, but he is right here with me tonight, and we'll be answering all of your questions regarding all types of fishing and talking about just maybe a little bit of YouTube stuff. But Joe, your main fish that you target is what?
Is catfish. So my channel name is Chatt Fishing. Chatt is short for Chattanooga, which is in Tennessee, and then cats is catfish. So I primarily fish on the Tennessee River, Nickajack Lake, Chickamauga, Watts Bar, Gunnersville. It's the same river, and that's pretty much my home territory that I fish. So we got a lot of trophy blues, flatheads in the area, so that's what I like to specialize in, but I'll go for any catfish size, really. I do take a lot of people out just to experience it, and it's been great. So I enjoy it a lot.
Patriot Catfishers of America asked, I love the free lining for catfishing. What made you start doing that?
So the free lining kind of was like a secret in a way amongst all of us Chattanoogans in a way. When I first moved to Tennessee, I actually booked a trip with Scenic City Fishing Charters, and that technique was introduced to me by Richard Sims. Captain Richard Sims, he is the owner of his charter company, and I thought that was just very unique, as I had never seen something like that before. And free lining is where you don't use any sinker or no weight. It's just the hook and the line, and you have bait on there, and you just cast it out into the current, and you let the weight of the bait drop in the water. And you have to have light line, because the diameter of the line is everything when you free line. If you have heavy line, it's not going to bring the bait down to the bottom as well. So the lighter the line, the better it is. So I tell people diameter is critical when you do the free lining stuff. And if I'm not mistaken, because someone was saying, well, you know, I seem to break off a lot of fish when I use lighter line. I think 10-pound mono is the same as 20-pound braid in diameter. So it's just kind of in some ways, it's just kind of an unorthodox approach to catfishing that most people do. Most people will just typically use a sinker, cast it out, let it sit on the bottom, and then you just wait for a bite. But the free lining, you're casting it out, and I like to do it in a boat where you're drifting. So I'll usually hit the tail race below the dam and just cast it out, and I'm just moving with the current. And I'm typically like in 5 to 10 feet of water. So it's just a great way to get fish in the boat. And so that's just kind of how it is. I've been doing that for a few years now, and it's just a quick way to get numbers in.
Very cool. Let's see, I had a couple of questions there. Someone asked what your PB was.
PB is like around 100 pounds. I couldn't get an exact weight on it, but it was caught this past December on the Tennessee River. It was I think like a week and a half or two, before Christmas, and just hitting a typical spot I usually hit in the fall and the winter, and a rod just buried down. It was on the Steve Douglas Monster Cat rod. I had 5 Shatter Cat rods out and just one Steve Douglas monster rod, and that was the one that got hit. And it took about 10 minutes to get in. I was anchor fishing, had a big piece of cut skipjack on there, and got it in the net and into the boat, and it bottomed out my 80-pound scale. And once it bottomed out, I was like, well, I should probably measure this thing. And I measured it and measured the girth. And there's a calculation out there where it's like length times girth divided by 800 gives you somewhat of a precise estimate of what the fish was. And it was like 97.8. So, yeah. It's crazy. It was crazy. Like I still can't believe it. I still can't believe that I was able to catch something like that. I mean, that's like every fisherman's dream in a way, is to, break 100 pounds, especially if you're a serious cat fisherman. So
that's a fish that everyone, not very many people out there are ever going to see a fish that big.
It's crazy. I mean, that's why it's important to let the big ones go, and because it can be a gift to somebody else, and the fish is just so old, and I mean, it even worries me, like catching big fish over and over, because they're just so old, and you just don't know when they're going to go, and that's why you want to get them back in the water as soon as you can. And so
Rhino Fishing TV asked what your favorite catfish bait is.
I mean, skipjack is probably my favorite. I mean, it tends to do very well in all seasons of the year, but I've caught my bigger ones on cut bluegill, and that's usually in the wintertime. So, but skipjack is what I would probably have to say is my all-time favorite, just because it usually stays consistent throughout the year.
Along with that, Fishing with Big D asked, what bait produces the biggest cats in your opinion?
Skipjack. Okay. So, but it's a preference thing for some of these catfish. Like, it's almost like for us, do I want to have steak or do I want to have chicken? I mean, it's like it's meat, and I think it's just a matter of, at that point, how old is my skipjack? If my skipjack's like 3 months old, 4 months old, am I going to use that, or am I going to use a big chunk of bluegill that I just caught like 2 hours before? Yeah. Which one do you think is fresher? Well, the bluegill. So, I mean, it really just kind of depends on, the time of the year, what's the bait source in the river doing, because skipjack, where I am right now, they usually don't make their runs below the dam until the spring. And in the wintertime, there's really no skipjack in my neck of the woods. You have to go to like a steam plant to get them. And so, but the bluegill are around. So I would think the catfish will be more prone to have a bluegill than a skipjack during that time. But I don't know. That's just like what I think. I mean, everyone's different in what they would use, but I don't know.
Outdoors Weekly asked earlier, could you put him on some big cats? Do you offer a guide service at all?
I mean, I do trips. I have a Patreon page where I do fishing trips. I always tell people that I can't like guarantee a big fish. I mean, I can guarantee fish for the most part. I mean, if I'm doing a trip in the wintertime, it gets a little tricky because, I tell people the quality of fish in the wintertime is good, but the quantity is like super minimal. I mean, just getting one fish, you may get like the 60-pounder, and that's the fish you'll get for like 8 hours of fishing. But in the summertime, like I can usually get 30 to 40 fish in a trip if, the action's good, like usually on the tail race below the dam. And if it's like a full-day trip, I mean, you can just get number after number after number, and some of them are big, but most of them are anywhere between 5 to 10 pounds. But you may get a 20-pounder or a 30-pounder that will hit. So it's just, really the time of the year. Timing is everything with fishing. I mean, as you guys know, like it's not, I mean, you just, weather and cold fronts that come in and high pressure systems. Like I pay attention to the weather so much. It's crazy sometimes, when you take people out, because you just got to look at, what's the weather doing and is it going to be a good trip or not? And so, but it usually tends to be okay.
I went out with Dieter a couple of weeks ago. And
yeah, I saw that video. That was a good, what was it, like 30 pounds or something?
32 pounds. And I think he's got a good thing going for him where he under promises. So I think he's going to continue.
It's tough. Like, I mean, we're always wanting to get the big one, but big is subjective. Like there's people I've taken out where they thought a 10-pounder was big, so it's like,
yeah.
And I got to remind myself that everybody's expectations are different. So it's, if they're happy, I'm happy, so that's really how I look at it when I take people out. So
someone asked, what rig are you using most of the time?
This time of the year, it's the free line rig, just free lining really everything. I don't really anchor fish a whole lot in the summertime, but if I anchor fish, I'm using the Carolina rig. It's just, I have a dual lock snap sliding rig with a weight that I just clip in and down to a barrel swivel, and then a 80-pound leader to a circle hook. But when I'm free lining, which is what I like to do this time of the year, I'll use a Cale hook, 4/0 Cale hook. I have 10-pound main line, and then I have a 20-pound leader line that's probably anywhere from 1 to 2 feet. And that 20-pound leader just provides more abrasion resistance, because I'm usually fishing on a rocky bottom or something like that. And that's pretty much it, and I can free line in any depth, really.
Yeah.
So it's just, you got to make sure and I use chicken when I free line. I don't use skipjack that much. I will a little bit, but I tend to do well just using chicken breast.
Are you soaking the chicken breast in Kool-Aid and Jell-O?
No, I don't do any of that. I just buy it from the grocery store, use it as is, just cut it up into different sections. And because it's not really at that point so much about scent, it's about a bait that's just that has a natural presentation in the water. So, and usually the tail race below the dam is where it gets very effective, but you can use it in the main river too, and because I've done it in like 30 to 40 feet. So it's just, but you got to make sure you're kind of going down river with the current. And if I have wind, a wind can become, a hassle out there. So it needs to be really no wind, and you got to have some current to be kind of going downstream with it. If not, then it becomes ineffective, and then I'll just suspend drift with my heavy duty anchor rods.
Okay. So let's see. What's your favorite body of water to fish?
Body of water, river. It's just, I mean, at least for me, the catfish love current. And I like fishing in a pretty moderate to heavy current if I'm really trying to go for a big one. Big one meaning over 50 pounds for me. And I'll use big baits. Sometimes I'll use small baits. Just depends. I just kind of get a feel for how things are on the river. But the more current there is, usually the better. Usually, if it gets too much of a current, it can be a little counterproductive, and then you have to fish like slack water areas and all that stuff, and you're kind of having to figure things out at that point. But when there's pretty good current is when I like to go out and anchor up on a hole or something, or a drop off a ledge, whatever, and try to go for the big one.
Someone asks, what are your biggest tips for daytime catfishing compared to nighttime catfishing?
Nighttime, I like to be near the bank. Okay. I'll usually anchor my boat kind of on a ledge or something like that, or around a bend in a river, because usually those fish are kind of cruising the shallows, and they'll hit your bait. if they're really in the feeding mode. But that's at night. That's how I usually approach it at night. I don't move around a whole lot at night. But if I am going to be fishing at night, I'll be relatively close to the bank. But during the day, especially right now when it's hot, some of them are going to be very deep into their holes, and it can be pretty hard. Like right now, our water temp is like 85 degrees. I mean, that's pretty warm.
Yeah, it's warm.
And it's warmer in some other areas too, the more south we go, right? So it's just, that's when I like to kind of suspend drift or free line and cover as much water as possible. And I recommend the dam. A lot of people say, oh, I don't like fishing the dam, but where I am, I'm usually fishing the dam because that's where a lot of the fish are. Because I can put, 30 to 40 fish in the boat, like in a 5-6 hour trip, especially if I'm taking somebody out. But it's just, that's what I would recommend. If you don't have a dam, then I would, just try to maybe drift the channel if you can. I mean, fish are going to be there. It may be kind of hard to get them to bite because it's hot, but just kind of trial and error is what I tell people. Really, just try to figure it out. Be open-minded and don't be stuck on one way of doing things.
Yeah. I think that's one thing everybody can kind of go off of. I've seen so many times where folks go out and they're throwing something completely the wrong way that I would consider throwing something, but they're catching giants on it. So I mean, it's all a matter of perspective.
Yeah, everybody's body of water is a little different too, I guess, and so there's a lot of factors that go into it.
How often do you bank fish?
I've been bank fishing a lot more this year than I have before. It's not a whole lot, just because when you have a boat, it's like you want to fish from the boat, and when you're bank fishing, you're not covering as much water. But I like to bank fish a lot when the river is blown out. Now, when the river is blown out, I mean that we've had 3 or 4 days of heavy rain and we're under flash flood warnings and all this. And especially when the dam has the floodgates open, which means they've released water from the floodgates, and it's pretty dangerous to be out on the river.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done it before by myself, but I don't feel comfortable taking people out in that. It's just, it gets, you got to really be on guard about stuff moving downstream, and it's just like, I just need to find like a bank location or something. But usually I'll fish from the bank if I'm fishing like a flooded creek or something. And I have a couple of videos out on the channel where I've caught some like 20 to 30 pounders fishing a flooded creek. And some of you guys may have also seen where I fished below the dam from the bank, where I free line in the spillway holes.
Yeah.
So those are usually the times where I'm fishing from the bank, or if there's like a bridge or something, So I just kind of get a feel for it. It's like, this may be a good spot to try out, just to see. So not very often I fish from the bank, but if I do, it's usually when I'm a little iffy about taking my boat out on the water.
That makes sense. Where are you from, and how many rods are you allowed to have out at once on the water?
I'm originally from Cincinnati, Ohio, but moved to Chattanooga in 2011. And in Tennessee, there's no limit on the number of rods you can use. Tennessee is actually pretty lax with their rules and regulations. So I typically use 5 to 6 rods when I anchor fish. But when I suspend drift, I think I use 4, just because it gets so hard to keep up with the rods that are out around you. And one of them snagged up, then you're having to reel up some rods a little bit. It just gets too complicated, and I just get fed up with it. When I'm free lining, though, usually 2 or 3. So, yeah.
Someone else said that you collab with several folks. Who are some of your favorites that you've done some collabs with?
I like doing collaborations with Ty Conkle. He's a real good friend of mine. I've known Ty since like, excuse me, I've known Ty since 2010. So like 8 years now. Ty Conkle, you guys may know him, fvcatfish.com. He has a guide service, but he's the one that kind of really got me introduced into trophy catfishing. I think he's one of the best, if not the best, in my opinion, just fishing the Southeast in the country. And so I always love fishing with him because, you know, I'm always learning stuff, and he's a very good teacher. I've done collaborations with Billy Claybo, Panfish, always a blast fishing with him. I've gotten together with Chris, I think once, Chris Flores. That was, I mean, it's always a hoot fishing with him. Let's see, Steve Douglas, I got to fish with him once. That was fun. And Steve's a little different. Steve's, you know, he's your teacher. You know, he kind of has an old school approach to things. Let's see, Northwoods Angling guys, I got to fish with them this past October, fishing for sturgeon up in the Mississippi and Minnesota rivers. That was a blast. Good guys. Catfish and carp, Luke Nichols, got to fish with him. And that was pretty fun because we did kind of like a play date where I brought my daughter Kaylee, who was 4 at the time, and he brought Tommy. And it was kind of a crazy outing with the kids, but it was a blast though. They each bought each other gifts and everything, and yeah, it was pretty fun. So
I was speaking with one of the viewers. His name's The Wyatt Life, and we both have kids around the same age. We're going to get on here one day and do a live. We're going to talk about fishing with toddlers. And
yeah, it's
yeah.
I got 3 of them. Kaylee is 5, Adeline's 2, and then we have Kale, who was born March 1st of this year, so he's like 4.5 months. So yeah, kids keep you busy. It's tough trying to balance everything, I tell you what.
You're a busy guy. You've got your daytime job, which I'm assuming y'all are out right now, but you've got your daytime job. You've got the YouTube stuff. You've got your big family. That's a pretty big load. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a school teacher by profession, so I'm on summer break now, and then you got the YouTube channel. I'm also a wrestling coach. Yeah. I do that in the wintertime, so I tend to stay pretty busy.
Someone asked, who would you like to do a collaboration with that you haven't already?
Blacktip H, Josh Jorgensen.
That would be cool.
You know, I've communicated with him a little bit about a year ago, and I was trying to get him up here for a monster catfish trip because, you know, he's a big saltwater guru. Yeah. Like, he loves catching the big sharks, and he's definitely your trophy saltwater magnet, really. But that'd be one guy I like to fish with. Kind of do an episode of freshwater giants versus like saltwater giants, you know, just kind of do something fun and get him to experience river fishing, and that would be really cool to do.
Yeah, that's
Twisted Fishing TV. I got so many kids just call me Father Abraham. Oh.
Jim from Kentucky Catman also said, "Have you ever had a heart attack on the boat? It really boosts your view count." He had a heart attack on his boat a week ago.
I'm hoping a rod bent down when that happened in a way, because I mean, I know what it's like when a rod bends down. It's just like the adrenaline really kicks in, and your heart starts racing, and you just want to say, "Oh, Dad," or something, you know. So it can. Yeah, I hear you on that.
Dieter. Dieter wants to know, what kind of subscriber numbers does Joe think he's within reach for his channel?
I think I'm pushing like 60,000 subscribers. Like, my channel like suddenly really started gaining momentum like this summer, which in some ways makes sense. I mean, most people are watching fishing videos in the summertime, you know. It tends to slow down a lot in the winter months. But I haven't published a whole lot of videos this year. But the videos that I did last year are starting to get a lot more views. And I think it's just, you know, YouTube is a very complicated system. In some ways, it's kind of like a cruel mistress, because you feel like, oh, wow, I'm doing really well. Like, my videos are being recommended or being suggested across YouTube. But then it's like the next day you're like, wait, what happened? Like, I'm no longer getting views. So the algorithm of YouTube is, I haven't really quite figured it out. Like, it's just so complicated. But you have to kind of get yourself established in it. And the smaller channels have the hardest time because, you know, I mean, I'll be honest, YouTube is biased. Like, everybody does not have an equal chance in the game whatsoever. It's, you know, like Catfish and Carp, Luke Nichols, no offense, but I mean, he kind of has a monopoly over most of the catfishing videos. You know, you type in how to catch catfish, you're going to see 4 or 5 of his videos on the first page. Yeah. You know, and you'll see Steve Douglas with a couple of videos. You know, it's just kind of like, it's all about, you know, how many views the video has and what YouTube does in their whole algorithm system to suggest and recommend your videos across all devices. So it's kind of crazy. I don't know.
Jake wants to know, do you have any tips on growing your channel?
Oh, geez. You know, when I first started, I got kind of lucky because I did a collaboration, and I should have said this before, but I did a collaboration with Leo Shane with Extreme Philly Fishing. Someone give me a thumbs up if you've heard that channel. He's a really great guy. He lives in Philadelphia. He's a multi-species angler. And I did a catfish tournament in Philadelphia one year, and he hosted it. And me and my twin brother Jake got first place in that tournament. And I told Leo, I was like, hey, you should come down to Chattanooga and fish with me. I said, we got big catfish down there. Because, you know, where he's from, Philadelphia, you got some flatheads in there, but nothing very substantial as the Tennessee River. So he came down, and guess who he invited? He invited Mike Shaw, One Rod, One Reel Fishing. Somebody give no thumbs up if you've heard of One Rod, One Reel Fishing. He doesn't publish a whole lot of videos anymore as he used to, but he used to be like the biggest, you know, freshwater channel. Well, Leo was able to bring him up for a trip, and I think I only had like 500 subscribers. And, you know, I was telling my wife, I was like, hey, this is kind of an opportunity for me to really grow my channel. Yeah. If I can just put them on a couple of good fish. Well, I was able to get Leo and Mike on their personal best catfish. And it just, at that point, once Mike, One Rod, One Reel, published his video of catching his personal best, I gained a lot of exposure from his audience. So I think I gained like 2,000 subscribers from him. And then I had Leo's audience as well. So it just kind of meshed in. And those videos got a lot of views, which kept helping my subscriber count. Yeah. So after that, I was kind of on the board in a sense. And I started to kind of take it seriously where I was like, I'm going to upload 2 videos a week every Sunday and Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And just said, hey, people, I will have a video out every Sunday and Thursday. And because I was catching some pretty good fish, you know, people like to see big fish on the channel, you know, so I had some, you know, people who were curious about that. And it all just kind of started to kind of just take off with the consistency of my channel. Getting together with people that had bigger channels really helped. And that was like 2 or 3 years ago when that happened. So, but
Dieter said
I gained 9 subscribers after I got therapy. Here's the thing. Like, I mean, here's the thing I want to tell Dieter though. Like, on a more serious note, like, I try to fish with people who don't focus, who normally don't catfish. Like, I try to get with the people who are, I don't know, so focused on bass fishing. I mean, I feel like our goals as anglers, too, is to introduce people, you know, to the sport of catfishing. I mean, it's fun fishing with people who share the same passion as you, but how fun would it be more if you were able to convert somebody from fishing bass to, you know, fishing for catfish? I mean, I don't know. So that I think that's what kind of helped me to begin with, because like one rod, one reel, like his personal best fish was like maybe 10 pounds, and we were able to crush that. But it's just one of those things. I mean, I don't know. So that's just my 2 cents.
I agree with you 100% on the cross-pollination.
It could be Dieter's ponytail as well. Like, I don't know. I don't know if he cut that or not. So,
from what I understand, it's cut. I was one of the last people to see it.
Yeah.
So.
I hope you have that Dieter as like a good luck charm or something. I don't know.
Let's see. Dieter wanted to know why Sundays and Thursdays. Or are those your 2 days to post?
A lot of traffic is on YouTube on those nights or those days. Obviously at night, most people are on their device. So I thought, yeah, 7:30 is about a good time. Thursday is kind of towards the end of the week, so people are most likely to get on their device then. Sunday night is right at the beginning of the week. So I don't know. I just kind of looked at which days were getting the most traffic, and I thought Sunday and Thursday would be a good option. So, yep.
All right.
I see Realistic Fishing's here. What's up, man? We got to get you back over to Chattanooga sometime, do some fishing.
There you go, Alex. All right, halfway through the show, you guys know what that means. It's time for Catch of the Week. If you don't know what Catch of the Week is, that's where you guys send in your pictures to me. I feature you in halfway through the Sunday Night Live, and I feature you again every Wednesday. So send your pictures to yakinwithsarah@gmail.com on Facebook or on Instagram. I'm taking them from all 3 as of right now. All right, going to hopefully move this. Here we go. And here we go. Catch of the week. First up, we've got Justin's Fishing Fetish with 11.5 channel at Cowan Lake on a bluegill head. That is awesome, Justin. Congrats.
That's a nice fish.
Yeah, solid. Catfish Bill 66 with Chris Flores on the floats in New Mexico. Go check out his channel. He's got some good videos coming out from that trip. That's awesome. That's awesome.
That's a nice fish too. Yeah, I saw that.
Ernest Cole on YouTube. Go check it out. He's got this nice bass to show. Make sure you're checking out his channel. All these channels will be in the description below. And we've got Country Girl Fishing, 4.52 pounds on a baby bass Cinco. That's crazy. Great fish. Now Tiffany was also out there with her son, Billy, who caught a 3.59 pound on a green and white Cinco. So congrats to that. Looks like a fun family day out. That's awesome. Next up, we've got Brooks. He is in the chat tonight. Brooks Pierce with a 5 pound. Caught this past week. He's got another picture for me next week. Congrats on that fish, Brooks. That's awesome. He's out of North Carolina as well. Then we've got Team Jesus Outdoors, St. Clair Smalley. That is a hog right there. Wow. That's a big fish. Then we've got my favorite part of the show. This is the future. This is what it's all about. This is where we get the kids out. We take their pictures and you send them in to me. The Weekend Angler. This is Caitlin. Every fish needed a kiss that day. Good job, Caitlin. That's awesome. Then we've got Gabby, also from Justin's Fishing Fetish, with her very first turtle caught while they were out catfishing. Looks like a demon dragon on that also. Congrats to that. Now I'm a little biased to this one. This is my little girl out catching bait the other day. Caught another bluegill on her little telescope rod. Congrats, Annabelle, on that. Alright. Sorry about that, Joe.
No, you're fine. I'm just looking at the pictures. Those are all nice fish.
Yeah. You know, it amazes me every week that people still send them in. As I started that, I think we're on episode 20 of that series, and people still remember to send it in, and it's my favorite part of the week, getting all those pictures in every single week, especially all the kids.
No, that's awesome. I think that's great. That's a good thing that you do.
I'll tell you, the kids a lot of times will show out the adults.
Right.
Let's see. Chris wants to know if you're planning on going to the conference next year.
Plan to, if it all works out. It was kind of really difficult this year that I was able to make it. My wife actually went into labor like just 3 days after I got back. It was kind of crazy.
Wow.
But I should be able to make it next February. I'm pretty much right at the tail end of wrestling season, so I should be able to make it. I plan on being there.
That's actually.
I see Steve Douglas's comment. Hey, Steve, how you doing?
Yeah. Justin's Fishin' Fetish said, I just posted a video and Gabby was the star. She is the camera ham. That's awesome. All right, that's awesome, PGH. I'll get you in next week. The White Life, I've got you in next week. Don't worry about it, buddy. All right, I think I'm caught up on the chat. Speaking of the Catfish Conference, that's actually where I got to meet you in person this past year. What did you think about the conference as a whole for those that have never had the chance to go?
I think it's great. I mean, there's a lot of vendors there that you get to meet a lot of different people. It can be almost like intimidating in a way because you're like, all these products are just, out there. But it's a great way to kind of just, get your feet wet with fishing, and you get to meet the professionals and just connect, network with a lot of different people, build relationships. So I really enjoy that part of it. And it's just a great way for us all to get together too. We all get to see each other like, I don't know, once or twice a year, all in one place, one sitting. So I thought it was great. And I think it was, I'm hoping it will be bigger next year. I mean, that's the idea behind it really. And, I don't know if it's going to be at the same place or not, but it was pretty packed in there this past February. Me and Dieter were hanging out, and so that was pretty neat. And I was selling some T-shirts and meeting, some fans, and going over to the different vendors like Team Catfish, Mustad Hooks, seeing Steve, Monster Rod Holders, and Sea Arc Boats, just meeting different people, and throwing your name out there and talking about your channel and so forth. So I love that a lot.
Someone asked if you plan on going to the Catfishing Expo also.
I'm not familiar about a Catfish Expo. I know in East Tennessee there's a fishing expo, but I don't think I'll have time to make it out for that. But I plan to be there for the Catfish Conference. And I see Steve's comment. He says, what did you guys think about the YouTube rally at the conference? Can we improve? I thought it was fine for the first go around. I haven't really given it much thought on what we need to really improve on per se. I think maybe something that should be talked about is how, social media is such a big thing these days now with how we promote our business and how we, try to promote the sport. And maybe there should be a seminar on how can we, because there's a lot of drama that goes on in fishing these days. It never used to be like this at all when it came to all the drama that just goes on with everything. But I don't know, just, talking about sportsmanship, just, simple things that how we can just carry ourselves as whether it's us as YouTubers, whether it's us as, being a catfish guide, being a tournament angler. I mean, because catfishing is definitely growing as a sport, but it can get bigger. That's the thing too. But I just don't want to have You know, because I know some people look at catfishing as like, oh, it's the redneck, I got to use my chicken livers type thing, you know. But really, I mean, there's some professionalism in the sport as well. You know, it's not just, you know, an old man sport or anything. You know, it's, I mean, there's some serious, you know, skill in it, and I think it's something that, you know, that maybe that should be kind of talked about in some of these, you know, seminars, maybe with the YouTube rally is, you know, how can we grow our channel, or what are ways that we can grow catfishing on social media, just different things. And I mean, Steve Douglas has, you know, really brought us a long way, and has really kind of got the wheels turning here. But we all have a part to play in this. So
I reached out to Steve. I mentioned to him that I would be interested in helping maybe talk about live streaming and things like that, because I've gotten pretty good with the OBS software and things like that. And there's no one else, at least in the catfish or not fishing community in general, that uses the software along with the live streams and things like that. And I think something like a seminar like that could be helpful to some folks. And like Dieter said, YouTube leaders would be cool for us newbies so that we can learn.
Yeah, and I like that, Dieter. That's a good point. Like getting a YouTube leader to come in, or just ways that we can, or like have like a social media expert come in as well. Someone that can help us, you know, better engage, you know, the community in our fishing endeavors. Yeah, I mean, those are, I mean, like almost like a business person coming in, but really geared more towards social media and how we can grow. I mean, those seminars I think would really benefit the YouTube community, and also people just showing up too. Because, you know, fishing these days, if you really think about it, it's not just about fishing. I mean, there's so many videos out there on what you can do to grow as an angler. You know, at this point, it's not so much what we can learn as a fishing angler, but how can we, you know, promote? How can we better push forward the catfishing? You know, the learning's already there. Like I feel like the base, the platform on how to fish is already there, but as far as how to grow it and expand it, that's another kind of domain in a way that I feel like may need to be touched on. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud at this point.
Realistic said that it could have been better had he been there this past year.
Yeah, there you go.
Someone mentioned something about collaborations only go so far. They would like to see some seminars.
I think, I mean, I'm seeing Steve's comment. I think, you know, having a seminar would be good. Like having a couple of, like, if you can try to get some big YouTubers, you know, that have like a big channel, that can kind of just help, you know, especially with some of the smaller channels, to kind of get a leg up on advice that they could give. And yeah, I think collaborations where like maybe you can set up a time where like one person can get with another person. Of course, that can be a little difficult, you know, to do at the conference, but I think a seminar would really probably be best, to get everybody in there, everybody to listen, and just have ways to better engage. But I will say this for me, like I have an Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. And, you know, YouTube has been around for a long time, but who knows how long YouTube's going to last? You know, if you think about it, I mean, you know how it was this year, just with, you know, videos being demonetized. I mean, it's almost like it was like the end of the world was coming to some of us, you know, with our channels, especially the smaller channels. So I have faith in YouTube, but then I really don't. Like, it's kind of like, I mean, they can just take away anything they want from you. That's why I tell people, fishing is not about YouTube. Fishing is about the passion that you have and that you love. Don't fish because you want to make a video. Fish because you love fishing. Like, I mean, fishing for me, it's just therapeutic. Like, my first priority is not like, oh, I got to do a video. Yep, I got to go on the river. I mean, my thing is, no, I need a break. I want to enjoy myself, take somebody out with me. And if I can get some footage, yeah, I'll bring out the GoPro, turn it on, and be good to go.
Yeah, it's the numbers, especially for newer YouTubers, it's harder for them to stay or not stay focused on their numbers. And I get that because, you know, we all started from somewhere. We all started with 1 subscriber. And, but just remember that those numbers a lot of times, especially like the subscriber count, that doesn't mean anything necessarily.
Yeah, like everybody gets so caught up in subscribers. Like, I mean, I've been there too. Like, I mean, just, you know, being a small channel, you know, every number, you know, matters. Like, and I get, like, I'm not doubting that at all. It's just, I feel like we just got to remind ourselves that it's not so much about who's following you. It's about, do you have, I mean, focus more on the content of your videos and not the subscribers, you know, because people who will subscribe to you will subscribe, one, because they love your content and they like you, you know, they see that you're, you know, a genuine person, that you're not pretending, and that you are who you say you are, and what you're putting out. So, I mean, the subscribers will come too. They will come. It's just focus on the content, and that's. But like I said, don't let YouTube dictate or control you in your fishing. Like I have to remind myself about that too, because it's like, yeah, how can I maximize the most views in this video? I try not to clickbait. I try not to sway people. I mean, I'm sure I've had a couple of videos that have been like, oh, I don't know, Chat Cats, that's not really that. I think you're swaying us here or clickbaiting us. I mean, I try not to, but I try to be clever though too. So it's just, I mean, but I remind myself that, you know, because YouTube can take away your videos, but they'll never take away your fishing. I mean, that's just how I look at it.
That's right. Weaning us back to fishing. What's your favorite fishing memory?
I got two actually. One is fishing with my grandpa. He passed away maybe 10, 11 years ago, but he was the one that kind of got me introduced to fishing. It was the old school fishing, using a bobber, you know, with a night crawler, throwing it out there, wait for the float to go down. Oh, fish on. You know, he's the one that really, that's where I got my outdoorsman kind of in me, is from my grandfather. And just plenty of memories with him. I don't have like a one exact fishing trip, but just all those memories are just memorable. And then I have one with my dad, where my dad came down for Father's Day, and we booked a trip with Mike Mitchell, Southern Cats Guide Service, and we got into some monster flatheads. And it was my dad's first time like catching a big fish in his life, and it was a trip that I had bought for him for Father's Day to fish down in Alabama on Gunnersville Lake. And this is when I was kind of brand new to the sport as well. I didn't have a boat at the time, and I think that was probably my favorite memory, fishing. And it's always just with family, you know. Anytime I can fish with family is always a blast.
Bill wants to know what your favorite snack is on the boat.
Favorite snack on the boat? Water. No, I'm kidding. I don't eat a whole lot when I'm fishing, believe it or not, but I will drink a lot, and pee a lot off the side of the boat. But if I'm going to have something, it's probably going to be like, you know, trail mix or something like that, something that's easy to eat. You know, don't bring a banana on the boat or anything, okay?
No, that's not allowed.
No. You know, it could be bad luck. So.
As far as your area, what are some safety tips you have for others that are fishing your area?
Especially when fishing around the dam, just just be careful. I mean, I always tell people when you're fishing on a boat, you are a boatman first and a fisherman second. Okay, so it's just, you know, a lot of people get so, you know, they get so into the fishing when they're fishing from a boat that they forget almost the whole safety components of a boat. Like, it's like you are a boatman first, fisherman second. So always make sure you got your bases covered when you're fishing from a boat. And always have your life jacket on. I like to wear the inflatable waist life jackets. It has like a yellow, you know, string you just pull, and it just then, you know, inflates over you. And they're just more comfortable to wear, and they're not in the way so much as one that's wearing like right over you. So just, you know, just be careful out there. Don't rush into anything. Don't go too fast. So I'm trying to think. And if you're fishing around a dam, make sure you're very comfortable, you know, before you take anybody out when you fish below a dam. Just because, I mean, it's different down there when you're fishing in turbulent water. Just trying to anchor on the wing wall or trying to get into a spillway hole, like it's not easy. That's not for everybody. I mean, there's times where I don't even go in there, where I'm just like, yeah, I just don't feel comfortable with this person I have in the boat with me. Like it's just not for everybody.
Yeah.
So.
What boat do you fish from?
I fish from a G3 17-foot aluminum boat. So it can fit 1 to 2 people or 3 people comfortably. When you start getting 4 people total, it gets packed and it's hard to move around. So if I'm going to be taking anybody out, I like to take 1 or 2 extra people. If it's a third, I kind of just play that. I kind of just make the call depending on the situation. And like if it's family, I'll take 3, you know, but I don't prefer taking 3 people, just 1 to 2.
What got you into your YouTube channel? What started it all?
Well, you know, when I started catching big fish, you know, people were saying, hey, you should, you know, record the battle, record the fight of the fish. We'd like to see that and not just the picture. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I can try that. And so I started using my iPhone first for like if you look at my channel and you go down, you know, down to the earliest videos, you will see that I'm using my cell phone to kind of, you know, just get some sort of clip. And a lot of those videos were like, I don't know, maybe 30 seconds to a minute, you know, just showing something. And then someone said, hey, you know, you can make money on YouTube by, you know, publishing your videos. I'm like, really? They're like, yeah. And this was like back in 2014. So I thought, well, hey, why not? You know, what hurt can it do? And that's before they had all the rules now, where it's like now you got to have, 10,000 minutes of watch time. You got to have a certain amount of subscribers, like 1,000. See, that never used that. It never used to be like that on YouTube. Okay. And that's what I was trying to tell you before. YouTube, they can change anything they want. They can take whatever they want away from you. That's why I just don't put full trust into it. But yeah, and then once that started happening, I, you know, like I said, I did that major collaboration with Leah with Extreme Fillet Fishing and Mike with One Rod, One Reel. And they had bigger channels. And I thought, you know, maybe I could do this. Maybe I could actually have a good channel going here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And, you know, because I've been fishing a while, I'm like, you know what? I can do it. So why not?
There you go. Dieter wants to know, what's the fastest time you've personally pinned someone in wrestling?
I pinned Dieter Melhorn at the Catfish Conference in 0.2 seconds. And, you know, I took his ponytail and put him in a half Nelson, and he was pinned.
There you go.
No, in all seriousness, I honestly can't remember. Probably, I don't know, 30 seconds or something. So.
Yeah, someone asked earlier if you could get Luke in a sling and have him wrestle something. I'm not sure what they wanted him to wrestle, but
Luke who? Luke Nichols? Or Luke just from Northwoods Angling?
Luke Hinges.
Oh, he is hilarious. He loves that tea, Pure Leaf, a lot. I mean, when I was up there in Minnesota, it was like every hour he would open up a new Pure Leaf. And I'm thinking, man, I'm like, just give me pure water. Okay, I was like, that's what I need. But no, if you guys have not chimed in Luke's live streams, you're missing out. It's hilarious.
They're amazing.
I see James comment he gave up the tea. Maybe he did. I mean, I know
hear he's losing some weight.
That's good for him.
I think he's lost about 40 pounds last time.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's really good.
Someone mentioned Jim. For those of you that don't know and would like to keep Kentucky Catman in your thoughts and prayers, he had a heart attack.
Yeah, I see him right there. Yeah, I hope you're doing well, man, and stay healthy.
Yeah.
So we're all thinking about you.
He said he's not going to go out on his boat by himself anymore. I think that's a great idea. That's definitely a scary situation to be in out on the water and have that happen to you.
Yeah, that is. It's a reality check, I'm sure. Definitely. When that happened.
All right. I'm giving you guys a couple more minutes to send in your final questions for Joe. I'm going to talk for just a second about a tournament I have going on, and it is the Trash Off Fish On Trash Collectors Tournament. It's through the Drop Hook Fishing app. If you haven't checked out that app, it's a great place for all the fishing community to get together, post your fishing pictures. They've got tournaments on there all the time, and they're all completely free. The Trash Off Fish On tournament original goal was 1,000 pounds for the full month of July collected. As of today, we are at, I think, almost 1,300 pounds collected, and there's still a week to go. So that's amazing. I mean, it's terrible in a way, but it's definitely it's good that all of you guys are out there and helping participate, and all the companies got together to contribute all the prizes, and I really appreciate every single one of you that are getting out there doing that. That's amazing. Let's see. How'd you come up with your YouTube channel name?
With Chat's Fishing, because I normally fish in Chattanooga. I just took Chattanooga and made a chat, fish for catfish, and said cats, and then just added fishing. So Chat's Fishing. I thought that kind of sounded a little clever. So yeah, that's just really it. Kind of shows that because I normally fish in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and primarily fish for catfish. So yeah, that's how that name happened. Just thought of it and was like, sure, why not?
I think you already answered Realistic's question. Have you ever fished doe or dips?
I haven't tried that below the dam, but I mean, I'm sure that's worth a try and see what happens. I tend to do better with stink baits and dip baits, fishing from the bank, where I can get like a scent trail established, and that's where I'll use like the Team Catfish, Secret 7, or the Sudden Impact dip bait. And I mean, you can catch a mess of channel cats with that stuff. Not really blues or anything, but you'll catch channels. I mean, channel catfish are kind of dirty catfish. I mean, they'll eat like practically anything. Stinky, soapy baits. I mean, they'll eat cut bait as well, and even live bait, but they're really the trash fit. They're really like the trash catfish in a way. I mean, they're still a fun fish to catch, but I think you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Let's see. Someone said your brother has a great channel too. You actually have a twin brother.
Yeah, I got a twin brother. His name is Jake. Top Tactic Fishing. He likes to fish for carp in the Philadelphia area. I'll see if I can find his channel real quick so you guys can just go to it and maybe subscribe to him. I know he's trying to reach 1,000, and I'm sure that would mean a lot to him. Here you guys go. Whoops.
Is it not gonna let you do it?
It didn't let me do it. And I'll just type it in. Just go to Top Tactic Fishing, type it in on YouTube, and you'll see it.
Yeah.
It'll look like me. So
have you guys ever changed? Did a video swap?
We talked about some things that we could do in the future, but I only get to see Jake maybe like 3 or 4 times out of a year, you know, and when we do, we just try to just hang out as much as we can. But yeah, Dieter. You know, Jake, you know, he has 3 kids as well. They got twins. You know, we're twins, and he actually has twins, Luca and Isabella, boy and girl. And then they got baby Joshua. So, but Jake loves to fish. I mean, he loves the carp fishing a lot. And I know carp fishing's kind of highly underrated here in America. But if you go over in Europe, the carp fishing's like almost like a god in a way, you know, like. What's up, Mike Chavez? How's it going, brother? Good to see you, man.
All right, last minute questions. Do you have any questions for me, Joe, before we finish this up?
Yeah, I got a couple for you. I was actually waiting to ask you some. So what's your favorite type of fish? What do you like to fish for the most?
I can't say that I have a favorite. I can say that with my kid, I have more opportunity to do more bait fishing than bass fishing now that she's going out with me more and more. She does do really well in the boat when we are able to go out on the ponds or something like that. I don't take her out on the lake in the boat yet. But so I guess
now your channel is Yakin with Sarah. So do you have a kayak then?
Yes.
Or
yes.
is it...
Yeah. Okay. So it's all
why the kayak and not just like a John boat? Just curious.
99% of the time I'm out there by myself.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
It's either me. It's almost always my girl and I. My husband just is burnt out on fishing, and it doesn't seem like that's going to change anytime soon.
Have you ever gotten with any other female anglers and done collaborations with them?
Not yet. That's in the works with a couple of others. I'm working on getting together with Tiffany and Old Lady Angler and Heather from Grab Life by the Fish. I'm working on it.
Good.
Unfortunately, the fishing industry is primarily male, and so you know, while I really enjoy going out with all the guys, it would be nice to find other female anglers to go out there with.
Yeah, that's gonna be my next question. Like, you know, you being a female, does that give you like a sense? Like, does that make you feel inferior to, you know, the fishing community, or does that motivate you in a way to want to do more?
I definitely think it's a motivation. So, I'm still really new to all this, a lot of this stuff, and I just kind of grab that by the reins and go with it. I'm all about learning as much as I can possibly learn. Just like I've brought up going to Lake Wiley with Dieter several times. I learned so much in that trip. He might not realize that, but I learned so much in that trip. And it's just really neat to be able to learn all this and to have the chance to learn all this from, all these people that, I was talking to someone the other day. I was like, hey, yeah, Joe from Chatt Fishing is going to be on my show this week. And they were like, you're lying. I was like, no, I'm serious, you know. Like, how do you meet all these people? Like, well, you just reach out to them, and they're open with all this information, and they're ready to give it to you. You just have to be willing to take it.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think it's great that you're confident in what you do and who you are, and I think that's just awesome that you're I'm sure giving not just anglers but also female anglers an opportunity to maybe that will inspire them to pick up fishing or maybe start a YouTube channel as well. I mean, it's just you just never know like how much of an impact you could be making on somebody. I mean, even like me as a teacher, like and just with the jobs that we do, you just sometimes you're like, oh, I just don't know, but you just never know. Like just one small thing can be the hit or the highlight for somebody else, and I think that's great that you're doing that, Sarah.
I will say that this was probably back when I had about 100 subscribers. It was quite a ways ago. Someone reached out to me. I don't remember what social media it was, but they reached out to me and they sent an email basically saying that, they had 3 daughters, all younger, and they were able to watch my page because it's, first of all, family friendly. And his daughters, after that, watching some of my videos, decided to go out with him. And since then, I get pictures sent in all the time. I don't always feature them in Catch of the Week, but they're continuing that tradition. And that's probably the coolest thing that's ever happened to me since I started this.
And I think that's what kind of makes your channel unique. And that was something I probably should have said before, is that, try to, for people who are trying to start their YouTube channels, try to have something that's different maybe from somebody else's. Like you do the live streams and you share the photos that people send you. I think that's awesome. I'm trying to, specialize in the big fish, and, share people, what those are and how you can catch those. And I think everybody just needs to kind of have their own like persona or their own thing that represents them in their channel. And that's what makes it, really grow authentically, I think. None of this fake subscriber stuff, buying views and buying subscribers, but really just being genuine and authentic, with what you deliver is what makes you, I think, a big YouTuber. So.
I agree 100%. It's a lot about a personality instead of a number.
Right.
Someone wants to know what our pet peeves are while fishing.
For me, people just being on their phones. If I'm taking somebody out, and they're just on their phone like the entire time, that drives me nuts. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's times where I'm on my phone too, but it's usually if I'm like talking to somebody, call my wife, or I'm having to respond to a text, because usually for me, I'm usually staying pretty busy. But just people who were just like, I don't know, just going through Facebook, scrolling down. It's just like, I don't know. I mean, it's like, just, that's why you fish, to take a break from all that stuff, And so I'd probably say that's one of my pet peeves, just people who are not really enjoying the time on being out, instead are just constantly on their phones. So how about you? What's yours?
Angry fishermen.
Angry fishermen?
I run into it a lot. Yeah. I see a lot of fishermen out there. They're angry and they're bickering the whole time, especially when I'm bank fishing or at a boat dock or something like that. I don't understand how you could be so angry while you're out there doing that. I just don't.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Perspective, is everything. Like, I mean, I always tell people, a bad day of fishing is better than a good day at work. And there's a lot of truth in that. Fishing sometimes it's just not about, catching fish. It's just about, being out on the water, just, being out with someone you love and being out with, just by yourself. Just, it's therapy, really therapeutic. I mean, that's my outlet. Fishing is my outlet, just like it is for a lot of you guys, and it's just amazing sometimes the things we take for granted.
I think we're caught up with the chat. Any other questions you have for me?
I don't think so. I've enjoyed being on your show tonight, and I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, I do have a request for you.
Okay.
Can you say fish on for everybody in your famous fish on voice?
Fish on! Fish on!
I'm going to sign off on that, guys.